Hey y'all, this is Justin with Symbiosis. We're here in Gonzalez, Texas today, and I just want to show you what my team has been working on. So this is about a 1 acre space. That's a small part of a much larger cattle and horse ranch. But our clients were just looking for a place to grow food, herbs, and medicinals. And so here at the top of our system, we have a culinary and medicinal herb garden. A little bit further down inside of our fenced and deer protected space, we have a food forest that's made up of 3 berms and swales where we're growing a diversity of fruit trees as well as blackberries and grapes. And then further down the hill, there's that large net house structure. Inside of there, there's many different raised beds where we'll grow fruits and vegetables. And nearby, there's also a large chicken palace for a large flock of chickens that will come out during the day, and they'll help keep our grasshopper population in check, and in doing so, they'll leave behind their fertility. One of the most important factors that we have to consider for every installation is how to manage the water. So we have rainwater coming down from this hillside above our food forest system. It's being intercepted by a berm that conveys the water into this constructed stream bed. As the water flows down, it will cross the road through a culvert and then enter our food forest system, where it will flow into the first swale, overflow into the second, and overflow into the third. And in doing so, it will provide passive irrigation water to the fruit trees that we have planted on those berms. While the primary purpose of this installation is to produce food and medicinals, we also like to make the sites we work on beautiful, nice places to explore, nice places to walk around and just be in. So along this constructed stream bed, we have planted a diversity of different plants. Many of them are pollinators, like salvia and Mexican honeysuckle. We also have a diversity of different cacti, like the spineless prickly pear back there, and some different types of yucca, as well as some ground covers and succulent plants. One of the problems that we encounter all the time is how to manage Bermuda grass. So you can see I'm sitting on top of these billboard vinyl tarps. And so this is a product that we buy after they've been used as a billboard quite inexpensively, prevent them from going into the landfill, and give them a purpose of smothering the grass. We do this for about 10 months in all of the areas here where the Bermuda grass is a problem, and we want to keep them out of the garden spaces. So this process is called occultation. That means that we're preventing light from getting to the grass and to the seed. Some people might be familiar with the process of solarization, which is very similar, and it uses clear plastic to superheat the soil and also kill the seed bank. But we find this process to be very effective. It's been working really well here, and it's less detrimental to the soil biology. After we used the excavator to form our berms and swales here for this food forest, we covered them over with the billboard vinyl tarps as a grass management strategy. Now that works really well, but the downside of it is that it also can set back the important soil biology. And so once we came back after 10 months of tarping, we uncovered it, and then we had to remediate the soil. So we have this special blend of soil amendments that includes biochar, different types of compost, and it's inoculated with a liquid biofertilizer. And so we've used this soil amendment on our berms. We used it in all of the plantings we've done on this site. And we also just used another organic compost product, quite heavily applied to these berms. And then I use this special tool called a broad fork, because after that tarping, the soil is quite dry and compacted. So we use this tool to work along the berms and introduce some disturbance to the soil, but not too much, And that allows for the water and the nutrients from our compost to percolate further down into the soil and reintroduce that soil biology that we need. The main feature of this food forest system are our fruit trees. And so this one is a peach tree, which is of course one of the most reliable, productive trees that we have for Central Texas. We also have plums, pears, pomegranate, a couple of apples, and a loquat, all of which were selected to have the appropriate number of chilling hours and to provide cross-pollination to each other to have the most productive, successful result that we could. In the understory of our fruit trees, we've built these simple vine trellises. In this case, we're going to be growing 2 blackberries. On other trellises, we're also growing grapevines. And then down here, we have a satsuma. So I don't always like to plant citrus because they don't always survive our cold winters. However, here in Gonzalez, the climate is a little bit warmer, and my client was really keen on growing some citrus. So we're going to give it a go. It's springtime now, so it's going to do great and grow throughout the warm season. Come next winter, we'll protect it with some frost cloth and do the best that we can. We're approaching the vegetable garden now. And so on this approach into the garden, we really wanted to make it a beautiful and inviting space. So there's lots of different pollinator plants, ground covers, succulents, just really interesting things to look at. And of course, most of them are flowering plants, so they'll be attracting the pollinators this way. This is the front of the veggie garden. This structure is about 30 feet wide and 60 feet long, and the whole thing is covered in this bird netting with 3/4 inch spacing size. So we have found, after this has been here for a year, and we already know that it does a good job of keeping out the large grasshoppers, but it has big enough spacing to allow in the bees to help pollinate the fruits and vegetables in the garden. The other great thing about having this superstructure here is that in the hottest times of the summer, we can also drape a shade cloth over and extend our growing season. We're inside of the veggie garden now. As you can see, we have a lot of raised bed space here. These raised beds are made out of 2x12 lumber, and we've used a natural wood preservative called Valhalla Lifetime. And it's a great option because it preserves the wood and it's also safe for gardening, completely non-toxic. Inside of these beds, they all have drip irrigation that's covered in hardwood mulch. These beds were installed last spring, so it's been about a year now. So a little bit of grass had come through, but we've got nice soil, and the mulch makes it really easy to manage the weeds that do come in here. A nice little feature that I decided to do on this garden is each bed has an independent inline shutoff valve. And so if our client doesn't want to grow in all of the beds for every season, they can just turn off the irrigation water for the beds they're not growing in and be really smart about how much water we're using.
Hi guys, I'm Sarah. I work with Symbiosis as a designer and a field tech, and I'm going to show you this culinary and medicinal herb garden that we're putting in at this client's site. We're putting this close to the garden center so it can be easily accessible, and it's outside of the deer cages because a lot of these are super fragrant, and so the deers aren't going to come near it anyways. So I can just kind of take you around and show you what we got in here. So some of the herbs that we wanted to plant in the garden are a little bit aggressive and can be tough and overpower other plants in a bed space. So we have these barrel planters that we use for plants like mint and oregano, lemon balm, etc. So we have two different types of mint here. We got peppermint and a mint mojito. Hopefully we'll get some cool hybridization effects. These are going to be watered off of a drip irrigation ring, and this is connected to a larger rain tank system. So we're planting a wide variety of medicinal and culinary herbs here, as well as lots of perennials and annual plants that are going to do great in the Texas climate. We got the purple coneflower. We got aloe, thyme, sage, yarrow, calendula, anacacho orchid, geranium, rosemary, lavender, chamomile, all the good stuff.
Hey y'all, thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and ask any questions that you may have for the team down below. We'll do our best to answer as many as we can. If you're in need of land regeneration, permaculture, or any of the other many things that you see in our videos, you can contact the Symbiosis team at the link below. We'll be making a lot of new content this year, so I hope you stick around and join us on our journey to regenerate Texas. And hey, maybe check out the video linked right here.